Right. It's been 24 hours since that explosive press conference from Virat Kohli, and there has been no clarification yet on the two versions that were put out. Right. Saurav Ganguly last week said he had asked Virat Kohli to stay on as T20 captain, as the India T20 captain, and Virat Kohli in that press conference said there was no communication. He was never asked to stay back. In fact, his decision to step down as the captain of the Indian T20I side was taken very well, and it was hailed as a progressive move. And a lot of these sensational claims were made, and then obviously you all figured that there was not all was well between the India captain and the board president. Why? Because exactly of the reasons we've been talking about: lack of communication, lack of transparency, and that is what the India Test captain pointed out to as well. There was a lack of communication. He said there was no communication, and he was only told he would step down. He would be removed as India's ODI captain 90 minutes before the announcement was eventually made. I came live to you soon after, seconds after the press conference was over yesterday. We put out that entire press conference for you to watch on Sports Today. You all know what has happened. A lot of comments already. I'll take them. I'll take them as well. But from some of the comments, what I can figure out is you are trying to say that we're targeting Virat Kohli. No, not at all. Virat Kohli here has obviously this is a controversy now. Remember everything that has happened from the 8th of December when the India Test squad was announced. Minutes later, a one-line tweet suggesting Rohit Sharma would take over as ODI and T20I captain. After Virat Kohli had stated his desire to keep leading India in the Test and the ODI formats. That wasn't to be. Now he's only the Test captain. And on Monday, of course, Rohit Sharma was ruled out of the Test series with a hamstring injury. A day later, there were reports that Kohli was contemplating pulling out of the ODIs. Weren't they going to play with each other? But all of that was laid to rest in the press conference. Honestly, Kohli said he was always available for selection for all the formats for India, and he never said he wanted a break. Secondly, he again was emphatic in stating that there was no problem between him and Rohit Sharma. He said, I'm tired of explaining that there is nothing brewing between me and Rohit Sharma. But what he did suggest, without saying it in as many words, is that he is not, that all may not be well between the captain and the board, between the Test captain and the board president. Now, look at it this way. Virat Kohli basically contradicted everything that that was pointed out by the board president, or by sources. He said he was never asked to stay back. He said there was no communication from the ODI as far as the ODI captaincy removal was concerned. None of that happened. But here's the thing now. India, of course, have departed for South Africa. They will take on the South Africans for a 3-match Test series starting on the 26th of December, the Boxing Day Test match. Now, what happens from there on? Virat Kohli himself hasn't scored. He's not been among the runs. There was a time, you go back to 2016, 2017, when Virat Kohli was literally ruling Indian cricket. There was the COA, which literally listened to every word that Virat Kohli said. There was also this Anil Kumble fiasco. It all played out pretty publicly after the Champions Trophy, after India lost the Champions Trophy final to Pakistan. It emerged that Kohli did not want Kumble as coach anymore. Kumble stepped down, saying enough is enough. He was taken aback with the fact that the captain wasn't quite happy with his line of coaching. This is exactly what panned out about 4 years back, and now Virat Kohli himself is not very happy with the way he was removed as ODI captain. He said that in as many words. He said that he was only informed about that minutes before, an hour and a half before the announcement was made. He said, I have no problem being removed. I have no problem with the decision, because it was India hadn't won any ICC tournaments under him. There was, and look, let's just face it, okay? There were even the runs had stopped coming over the last 2 years. It's been 2 years, over 2 years. November 2019 is when Virat last scored an international 100. Now, what happens from here on? He's only leading India in one format. He obviously remains the pivot of India's batting alongside Rohit Sharma, two of the most experienced batters in international cricket in the modern era and in contemporary cricket. Um, Now Kohli needs to really also talk with the bat. His bat needs to do the talking. I'm not suggesting, 6 months down the line, if Virat doesn't score runs, you'll suddenly see him being dropped from the team. But we've seen how things have panned out, right? He's going to South Africa, where India have never won a series. He has led India to a series win in Australia back in 2018, 2019. Of course, he did not play the remainder of the series in 2020, 2021. After the Athletics, he came back home for the birth of his child. Virat has also overseen the Test series victories in the West Indies, in Sri Lanka, where India traditionally struggled for about 2 or 3 decades. He led India to series victories there as well, and leading from the front with some superb performances. He's been emphatic at home. He's won Test matches overseas here and there, and now in England as well. India leading 2-1, of course, with the final Test to be scheduled to be played next year. So he's done a lot in Test cricket, but he really want to up his game as India head to South Africa, lead from the front, score runs against a very, very challenging um, bowling attack. You have South Africa. They've got some world-class pacers in their ranks, and it'll be interesting to see how Virat Kohli walks the talk there when India land. And it'll be important. It'll be important because um, that press conference created quite a stir, and there were some reports where uh, probably you heard the chairman of selectors would front up to the media, address a press conference. We don't know what's going to happen. There was some expectation in certain quarters that maybe the board will address the situation, because that presser created quite a stir, quite a controversy. People wondering who's speaking the truth here. Was it what was happening in those quarters? So that's all become really interesting, and we're waiting for answers. While we wait for answers, um, you know, we can only hope that this situation gets diluted very, very quickly, because this is not good for Indian cricket. What you want to see in Indian cricket is unity. Both of these champion cricketers, whether you talk of Saurav Ganguly, um, one of India's greatest captains. Virat Kohli will also go down as one of India's greatest captains. You look at his records. Yes, he did not win ICC tournaments in his tenure. Um, you'd really expect probably, hopefully, both men to sit down and have a conversation. Malay Banerjee, is there a rift in the team? Look, it's so difficult to say that from the outside, right? When this whole thing was playing up, Rohit not playing the Test matches, obviously because of a hamstring injury. Then reports that Virat Kohli may skip the ODI series, obviously because of a lack of transparency. There was some, we were drawing conjectures. Everybody was talking about a possible rift in the team, but Virat Kohli came out and. Put to rest all such speculation and rumors. Kodana Ram Tarepali, I hope I'm getting your name right. Just draw Virat and go ahead. If we lose the series, which anyway we will, it is okay. Groom youngsters. The attitude is not acceptable. Well, Kodanda, I don't think India. You can brush aside India's chances that way. India are a very strong competitive Test team. Yes, there are a few challenges in the team. Pujara at number 3 needs to get those big runs. Rahane's form has been a major concern for the last couple of years. He's been dropped as vice captain. Um, Now, the newly appointed vice captain will not travel with the Test team because of a hamstring issue. I don't think it is so fair to say that, because Virat Kohli has been phenomenal in Test cricket. He's been across formats, in fact, and he's more often than not led from the front. Yes, but what I'm trying to say now is that he is not scored enough runs the last 2 years, and the onus will be on him to score runs, because this has played out in the public eye. And I thought this was Virat Kohli's best press conference ever. In the past, he sometimes reacted a little angrily, maybe there's some emotional reactions. He said things like, "This is the best Indian Test team in 15 years," all of that. But yesterday, he was balanced, he was calm, he answered all those questions. I saw the press conference live. I went back um, to the conference later in the evening, and watched that entire footage again. I thought he was just brilliant in answering the questions that he did. He was measured in his words, but he was also very careful in assessing the fact that he wanted to answer every question that came his way, and he dealt with all of them with a straight bat. So this is the thing. And Kohli's attitude, well, it's that kind of attitude, right? He's aggressive. He likes to be on the opposition's face. He revels in that kind of a scenario. He revels in that kind of situation. So, and he was asked about it. He was asked about how this captaincy issue will now impact his batting, and he said he wasn't sure, but we'll have to wait and watch, because um, for the last 5 years, he's never played as a non-captain in any format for India. So this is going to be interesting. And look, again, it did come across as a simple scenario where it doesn't look like there is any issue between Virat and Rohit now. Virat Kohli is miffed with the way he was removed. Again, coming back to the board president, a respected cricketer, one of India's finest, one of the world's greatest captains. He was instrumental in shaping Indian cricket in a very difficult time. And I have seen comparisons, by the way. Some people have said, Ganguly also never won a World Cup. Ganguly didn't win those ICC trophies. He shared a Champions Trophy with Sri Lanka in 2002. But look, when Saurav was leading India, those were difficult times, right? India was coming out, especially after whatever happened in 2000, and then the way Saurav Ganguly took his troops along 21 years ago, picking up youngsters, picking up match winners, then getting them to perform overseas the way they performed in the 2003 World Cup, especially after a sluggish start, that game against Australia, where they were hammered in one of the first games against the Netherlands. It was a scratchy victory, but from there on, they were just emphatic till they again, of course, lost to Australia in the 2003 World Cup final. But that Australian team was just unbeatable. They were literally unbeatable. I don't use that word lightly in sport. Every team is beatable, but that Australian team was something else. But yes, you have to factor in a lot of things. Sort of taught his men how to be aggressive, how to be up in the faces of the Australians, especially the 2001 Test series. That's gone down in history as one of the greatest ever, right? When Australia came to India, we lost in Mumbai, and then the way they bounced back in Kolkata, Chennai, sort of Ganguly, the way he reacted to Australia's mental disintegration games, all of that. Look, so those comparisons do not stand, in my opinion, because on one hand, I've seen a lot of people talk about what did Saurav win. It's not just about winning ICC trophies; it's also about creating a legacy. And Saurav Ganguly did create that legacy. Yes, it would have been nice to have those couple of World Cup victories, World Cup trophies in his cabinet as captain. But look, let's be fair. Indian cricket has moved on. Indian cricket has gone from strength to strength over the last 2 decades. And the expectations are such now that you want your teams to actually start winning ICC tournaments, because it is all a process. It is all a process. I mean, I can go back as far as the 1970s, the 1980s, and 83 when India won the World Cup. Obviously, expectations grew. In 87, India reached the semi-final. 1992 was a poor campaign. 1996, we lost the semi-final to Sri Lanka. That was pretty controversial. 1999, went to the Super Sixes. Again, 2003 final. 2007, completely disappointed. And then 2011, we finally won at home. So you want. This is how time evolves. This is how sports evolve. This is how teams evolve. This is how you want to see teams going from strength to strength. So I don't see that comparison, and that is not a fair comparison. So let's be fair in our assessment. But while we are being fair in our assessment of the Ganguly captaincy and the Kohli captaincy era, it is also important to understand that both these men hopefully will sit down and have a conversation. Because if Saurav Ganguly said, I wanted Virat to stay on as T20 captain, maybe it was a damage control act because it was playing out in the public eye, and Saurav wanted to do it to just, calm tempers down. Was there a backdoor conversation? Was there an approach made to Virat Kohli and said, let's stick to the same version? Or was there never any sort of communication after that statement or before that statement? Yes, if Virat Kohli is unhappy with something, that needs to be addressed as well, right? So both these men, like I said, obviously they have the best for Indian cricket in their hearts. Well, I can see a lot of comments through Prashant. Euni is asking why Ganguly cannot come and give the statement and clear the air. Somebody from I completely agree with you there. Either Saurav or somebody from the board. Will there be a press conference? we don't know. There has been speculation of a press conference from the chairman of selectors after Virat's presser yesterday, but what will that presser do? Will it look like putting two sides head to head? And these are not two sides; it's the same side. It's the Indian cricket team. It's Indian cricket. It's Indian cricket administrators. Maybe they've already had a conversation. Maybe they're going to come out and issue a statement together. We don't know. But somehow I feel that a press conference from either the chairman of selectors or the board president or whoever will suddenly make it look like a conflict. Here's what he said. Here's what I'm going to say. You can't have that back and forth. So I think a nicely worded press release somewhere with some sort of details and transparency would be quite nice. Srikanth Sri, the stature of Virat Kohli, has been treated badly by BCCI. He's so honest in his press conference. There's no issue in removing him from captaincy, but the way the BCCI did was the issue. I agree with you, Srikanth, and that's exactly I think what a lot of quarters are saying as well. And I think that was the crux from the press conference yesterday. And I felt that was the biggest takeaway from everything that he said. The fact that there was no communication, that he was only informed about his ODI captaincy, being removed as ODI captain 90 minutes before the eventual announcement was the issue. Well, Anubhav C saying Saurav has 7 centuries in ICC trophies, most by a batsman ever. VK has only 2 centuries in ICC trophies. VK's average is also less than Saurav in ICC trophies. Well, you can go back into these stats and numbers. Ganguly obviously had a great record in ICC tournaments. He played some scintillating knocks for India across the globe over those years that he represented the country, and that's why I say that these comparisons are not always fair. Both these men are great cricketers. Both of them have done a lot for Indian cricket, and they will go down as two of India's best captains, and the things that they've done for Indian cricket will be remembered. But yes, this is a little disconcerting. You really hope that things get sorted out pretty quickly. You hope now that Virat Kohli goes to South Africa, scores runs, wins the series for India, and gets a lot of support, obviously, from the rest of his teammates. Looking at runs from Rahane, Pujara, no Rohit Sharma in the Test series, which means Mayank Agarwal will open alongside KL Rahul. Great opportunity for him, and hopefully now the conversation will shift to the build-up for the Test series in South Africa, which is going to be a riveting cricketing contest, because this is how you build teams. This is how you build legacies. This is how you build folklores, sporting folklores. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. This is all I have to say. Like I said, it's been 24 hours. There's been no further communication from the board. But yes, what we've also learned, and we shared that with you on the indiatoday.in website, is that the board sources are saying that they've been taken aback by Virat Kohli's statement regarding the lack of communication, and they said that he always knew that he was going to be removed as captain, and the chairman of selectors had communicated that to him the night before the announcement was made. So we'll wait and watch and figure out what the final version is. But there cannot be, for the sake of Indian cricket, in this regard, there cannot be two versions. I hope both parties come to a resolution and tell us the final aspect of what has been a bit of a downer in that context the last 1 week. Hopefully things will be resolved soon, and we can focus on the build-up for that Boxing Day Test match between South Africa and India. India, of course, departed for South Africa. Once they're there, they will have a day of quarantine and, of course, begin training and preparing for a very, very important Test match, a very, very important Test series. This is the World Test Championship. India, of course, won the series against New Zealand. They are leading England 2-1. They have that final game to play next year, and then this series in South Africa, extremely important. Remember what happened there when India went to South Africa 4 years back, lost the first 2 Test matches, bounced back in Johannesburg on a very, very difficult wicket, on a very difficult pitch. So they will take some confidence also from the recent records against South Africa. India have been overwhelming favorites against South Africa, at least at home. Can they repeat that same domination when they go to their territory, to the Proteas territory? Well then, thank you so much. Have a very good day. I'll join you back very soon. And please do subscribe to Sports Today and keep supporting this platform. And all your comments, questions are very, very welcome. Whether you contradict me, whether you agree with me, the more the differences, the better. Always up for those discussions and opinions. Thank you so much. Have a good day.